Winter! It means longer power outages and the possibility of not being able to travel for a few days, being housebound. At least, that's what it means out here in the plains of Kansas where I live. Winter is coming. Howdy, I'm Matthew, and this video is my thoughts on some simple, relatively cheap items that you should have on hand for when that storm hits and you're stuck in your house, probably without electricity, for just a few days. This is not about surviving the apocalypse. This is just about getting you through that storm. First thing to get, in my opinion, and from my experiences of being through many, many power outages, is tea light candles. They are cheap, convenient, and have a virtually infinite shelf life. They're safe because they have a little metal cup to keep wax from flowing everywhere. They have a low center of gravity, so they can't get knocked over. And they only burn for a few hours. So if you accidentally leave one burning, it's only going to run for a little while before it puts itself out. Every fall around here, they appear on the store shelves for really cheap. Thanksgiving through Christmas is a really good time to stockpile a few hundred of them. And to complement the candles, I love large wooden kitchen matches. Lighters are okay, but the butane on a lighter will leak out. They're prone to mechanical malfunctions. And let's face it, lighting a candle with a lighter is sometimes a pain in the thumb. Now these little tea light candles are great for light. That's the main purpose of having them. They're not going to produce a lot of heat for you. There are some heater plans out there on Instructables on YouTube that I've seen of people taking tea light candles and terracotta pots, making a little heater. I don't know if that actually works. The BTUs available in a tea light candle is pretty minimal. I might try it someday. And if you're clever, you might be able to rig up a way to heat yourself some water so you can make yourself a cup of hot cocoa with some tea light candles, but I don't know. I have my doubts about that too. I decided to go ahead and try heating some water with a tea light candle just to see what the results were. It is 3:46 and we have reached 130 degrees. So it takes, 2.5 hours to get water hot enough to make a hot drink with one of these little tea candles. Not too productive there. If you want to get a little more modern with your lighting needs, a real simple way to go is to get USB lighting. I really like these ones that look like an incandescent bulb with a cord on it. There's another style out there that has a nice switch on it, which would be a whole lot better. These don't have a switch. A little hard to plug them in sometimes, but there are many, many styles of USB lighting devices out there. A lot of them are really cheap. So look around, and the reason I recommend USB lighting is because USB sources are everywhere. Little power banks are super cheap nowadays. You can recharge those power banks off of a little solar panel that you can get really cheap, or you can even recharge those power banks from your car. So USB lighting is a really good way to go. And that's just kind of a hint on expanding this a little bit more. Up to you. Next, I'd get some hand warmers. Hand warmers are a really safe source of heat. They have a really long shelf life. The hand warmers I bought had a shelf life of 4 years beyond from when I bought them. I'm sure they'll last much longer than that as long as the seal on them is not compromised. And don't forget, you can put hand warmers in your socks, on your lower back. They're not just for warming your hands. Another really good trick is to sit in your favorite chair, cover up with a blanket, and put a hand warmer under your shirt on your belly. You'll be nice and toasty in no time. And next is water. Water is very important. Depending on where you live, that may or may not be a concern. For me, I'm on a private well, so when electricity goes off, I don't have any water. If you're on a city water system, they'll probably keep that going for you. May not be near big of a deal, but it's wise to have a couple gallons at least stored up anyway. The easiest thing I think to do is to get these 2-gallon dispenser jugs, fill them up with a couple gallons of water, stick them in your refrigerator, get you a glass of water. It's just a good habit to get into. Just have this sit in your fridge, every night, make sure it's full. If you know a storm is coming in and you don't have jugs set aside specifically for water, just look around your house. Jugs and containers, pots, pans, whatever you can find. If you're worried about the water not being available, just fill up anything you can find. A lot of people recommend filling up the bathtub, but I actually don't recommend that. I think there's a lot better ways to go about storing water than filling up your bathtub. And a rule of thumb when it comes to water is a gallon of water per person per day. So if you have 3 people living in your house and you want to ride out a 3-day storm, then you need to have 9 gallons of water stored up somehow. And don't forget, if you live in a place where you're going to be without water, you might want to flush that toilet too. One of the things we do for toilet flushing water is we fill up old, emptied laundry detergent bottles. Now, who cares if they have a little bit of soap in them for flushing the toilet, right? Just refill the tank of the toilet and then flush it normally. It doesn't require electricity to flush. It just needs water to flush. And of course, you probably want to have a little bit of food stored away that you don't have to cook. I would just start off instantly with like some granola bars, dried fruit, jerky, individually wrapped slices of Spam is really good. Get some canned fruit or some canned vegetables or some canned meat even. And remember, if you're getting stuff that's in cans, make sure you have a can opener that doesn't require electricity to open those cans. I also really like little boxes of cereal for a snack. Just eat them dry. I don't need milk on my cereal. If you know a storm's coming in, make sure you have a jar of peanut butter and a jar of jelly and a loaf of bread sitting around, because none of those 3 things need to be refrigerated, and that's a lot of meals right there. And also along those lines, if you know a storm is coming in, make you some no-bake cookies. Fry up a whole bunch of pancakes. Pancakes don't need to be refrigerated. They'll store for a couple days easy, just sitting out on your counter. Syrup doesn't need to be refrigerated either. If you just walk up and down the aisles of your grocery store, avoid the refrigerator section, and just really look at a lot of the foods. There's a lot out there that's just readily available that requires no cooking and has a really long shelf life. And keep all this food in a tote. I really recommend a clear tote so you know what's there, but in case you need to bug out for some reason, you can throw that tote in your car and take off. You got some food to go. To recap, start out with some tea lights, wooden kitchen matches, hand warmers, some really simple food stuff, a little bit of water. You have a very basic, get yourself through a couple days when the electricity goes out and a storm hits, kit. Gotta be a better name than that.